the one, the only Benzion. Good evening and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun with Benzion. Today we're doing Benzion Sotah Daf Lamed Aleph, number 31. I actually did an entire parak tonight in one daf. We finished two prakim today. I want to talk today on Lamed Aleph and Beis, really about the Mishnah and then the Gemara, the first Gemara on Lamed Aleph and Beis, which really just elaborates and explains the Mishnah. The Mishnah seems to say that based on the Gzera Shava of Davar from Mammon, we learn that Eidei Stira, right? We learned at the beginning of the Satra. Yeshua says you need 2 Eidim for the Kino, 2 Eidim for the Stira, and then she drinks the Benzion Sotah, right? So how do you know you need 2 Eidim for the Stira? So he learned. The Mishnah seems to say Al Pishnayim Eidim Yakum Davar, and it says Ki Matzah Ba'ervas Davar. So the word Davar is a Gzera Shava. Matzah Ba'ervas Davar is talking about where there was cheating, adultery. Now Stira is not adultery, right? Seclusion does not mean they committed adultery. It's very possible they went in seclusion and just were talking or touch each other. They weren't actually together in a halachic sense. So the process like Matzah Ba'ervas Davar is not really applicable over here. How does the Mishnah use it for that? So really the Gemara answers this question. The Gemara says really not from that. Really, it's from Ba. Kimatza of Eidei and Ba. When it comes to Sotah, Eidei and Ba. Ba v'lo b'kino, Ba v'lo b'stira. When it comes to a Sotah, if there's 2 Eidim for the Kino and 2 Eidim for the Stira, and then you have 1 Eid for the Tuma. 1 Eid says that she actually did adultery, not 2 Eidim. So even normally in the Torah, if there was no Kino or no Stira, you need 2 Eidim for the Tuma. Kimatza Ba'ervas Davar. We learned that from Mammon. And that's really what Matzah Ba'ervas Davar teaches you, that when it comes to the Eidei Tuma, you need 2 Eidim to say that she committed adultery. However, by Sotah, 1 Eid Tuma is enough, provided that you had 2 Eidim for the Kino and 2 Eidim for the Stira. How do you know 2 Eidim for the Kino and the Stira? It says Ba. For the Tuma, you don't need 2, but for the Kino and the Stira, you need 2. And that's really the Gemara learns it from. So that's really what the Mishnah really meant to say. So it comes out at the end of the day that it's not considered adultery. 2 Eidim for the Kino and 2 Eidim for the Stira. The whole parsha of Sotah we talked about until now. 2 Eidim for the Kino and 2 Eidim for the Stira. You bring the Yerushalayim, you drink the Benzion Sotah to determine whether she's guilty or not. Right? It's not davar mammon. Like, by Eidas mammon, you need 2 Eidim. You need Torah's Vadai. My first Iyun I ever heard from really seriously, I was my first year in Yeshiva University as a freshman, Rav Yaakov Konigsberg. I think he's still a rabbi over there. He gave a shiur, and he talked about, we learned about Mitzvah there, and he was talking the difference between a birur and anhaga. It's something, Eidim is mavar, it clarifies to us the truth. But there's certain ways that the Torah tells us to do something, even though we're not entirely sure that's the truth. It's called anhaga. Chazaka is something like that. That was the example. A chazaka is an assumption that we do. And really, that's all Sotah really is. Kino and Stira, raglayim l'davar, the Gemara says. There's strong suspicion over here. And when it comes to Sotah, over the Torah says, 2 Eidim on the Kino, 2 Eidim on the Stira, that's going to be good enough to force the woman to go to Yerushalayim and drink the Benzion Sotah. If she doesn't want to drink, she's also to her husband, she loses the Ksuvah. Now, the Isser is not an Isser Olam, like the Mishnah says. If she drinks the Benzion Sotah and is innocent, she's muteris to her husband again. It's an Isser B'Torah's Chazaka. That's really what it is. It's not B'Torah's Vada. Because if B'Torah's Vada, there would be no way of removing it when she drinks the Benzion Sotah. It can't be that she's Asr clarified. We clarify that she's Asr, and then she drinks the Benzion Sotah and you removed it. Because once you clarify something, you can't renege on it. Like when the Gemara says, once Eidim say something in Beis Din, they can't retract what they say. Once you say something admissible in court, you can't retract what you said because it's taken as the truth. Once we take something as the truth, you can't retract the truth. If the truth is the truth, you can't retract it. So therefore, it's clear that 2 Eidim on the Kino, 2 Eidim on the Stira, the Torah considered that to be a chazaka. It's an assumption. That's all it is. And therefore, if she drinks the Benzion Sotah and it's proven this, then she can go back to her husband. It's not a clarification. And that's why Kimatza Ba'ervas Davar, that you want to find her that she's guilty of adultery, right? That's Gzera Shava from Mammon, right? When Mammon needs to clarify something. Motzi Mammon, Motzi Mechaver, Olav Araya, right? A person has a chazaka. They have their money. If you want to remove money from someone, he has a chazaka. It's sumu koma shetakas yadam rayushala. Whatever a person is holding on to, there's an assumption. The reason he's holding on to it belongs to him. If you want to prove that it doesn't belong to him anymore, and he owes you money, you have to bring a proof. You have to bring clarification. That's the reason you need to aid him. I've always said clarification does not mean 100% clarified. 80% is clarified enough, I believe. But you need a clarification. There's pretty strong proof in order to be motzi from the chazaka. And therefore, also by adultery, if there was no prior kinoi or stira, so you need a proof to prove there was adultery. You need two eidim on the tumah. One aid on the tumah is not good enough. Only over here, the Torah says over here, when you have two eidim on the kinoi, two on the stira, and you have one aid on the tumah, it doesn't mean, I don't believe it means that it's now proof that she's committed adultery. It's just enough proof to assume, because unless you have two eidim on the tumah, that's not clarification. One aid on the tumah, all the Torah is saying is there's too much of suspicion that she actually probably committed adultery. There's not proof to that. Because we don't learn like matzah ba'arvitzah. We learn it for different pasuk, but eight ain't ba. It's an exception to the rule. She doesn't drink the Benzion Sotah, because we only let her drink the Benzion Sotah where it's a suffix. It's unclear to us whether she actually committed adultery or not. But if there's strong proof, he warned her in front of two eidim, and then she secluded herself in front of two eidim. And then there's one aid who adds that and says that they actually violated, she committed adultery. That's enough of a reason not to make her drink the Benzion Sotah. We just say, divorce your wife. She's usher to you. She's usher to the boel. But not B'Torah's Vada. I don't believe it's B'Torah's Vada. I still believe it's only B'Torah's Safek on Haga. But it's enough of a proof to say, don't drink the Benzion Sotah, don't erase Hashem's name in the water, because there's a pretty good chance she probably committed adultery. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.